You're watching a Jean Enersen special, Norwhest Newsmakers. Here's Jean Enersen.
Hi, and thanks for joining us for this Norwhest Newsmaker special. Washingtonians have had little to cheer about this past year, and who wouldn't always want next year to be a better one? But it was nice to have one endorsement of our Northwest way of life. The Obama administration has lured a number of our local leaders back to Washington, D.C. And now there's something called the Seattle crowd in the other Washington. So we decided to travel back to D.C. too and check it out. Checking out the clout. Our nation's capital can be pretty imposing. The buildings are grandiose. The stone is massive. The monument's huge. No skyscrapers here. That is, except for the Washington Monument, 555 feet tall, built before our state got all this clout. And there are statues, lots of them, and plenty of people, some working here, others on a pilgrimage of sorts, to see the political center of our country. Today, we're going to meet the folks from our Washington, members of the Seattle crowd. The highest ranking member is former Governor Gary Locke, now the Secretary of Commerce, and 10th in line to be president. That's pretty close, isn't it? The only other Secretary of Commerce who ever became president was Herbert Hoover, and they named the Commerce building after him. Is Commerce a stepping stone to the White House for Gary Locke? Former King County Executive Ron Sims, now the Deputy Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. He talks about the power of the Seattle crowd in D.C.
We call the Seattle crowd, and people talk pretty openly about the Seattle crowd and our nexus to the Washington delegation, so we're asked to do a lot with them. But I think Washington is going to do very well, very well.
And Seattle's former top cop, Gil Kurlikowski, now the nation's drug czar, leading the fight against illegal drugs and narco-terrorism. Are you running for governor? And there's Congressman Jay Inslee. He's been in D.C. a long time now, and there are some rumors he'd like to make a run for governor. And finally, for a stardom of a different kind, I'll share a conversation I had with legendary film director Francis Ford Coppola in Seattle recently for a film festival. And also coming up, Congressman Jay Inslee, another member of the Seattle crowd back in Washington, D.C. But could his days in the other Washington be numbered? And later, Seattle. Don't go away, just ahead. He says there's never been a better time to be in Washington, D.C. So why is everybody talking about Jay Inslee headed back to Washington State?
Welcome back to a Jean Enersen special, Norwhest Newsmakers.
There are no term limits on governor in the state of Washington. Current governor Chris Gregoire is in her second term, and for all we know, she might run again in 2012. But if she doesn't, one name that comes up as a potential Democratic candidate is Congressman Jay Inslee. So I want to start right off the bat with what everybody's talking about you about. Are you running for governor?
I'm engaged right now in getting clean energy bill through and a health care bill, and it's very, very exciting times back in Congress, and I have loved this job and still do. It's a very engaging time. You know, if the governor does not run, it's something I'd be interested in, but right now I'm focused on a job that is worth doing right here in D.C.
So Congressman Inslee says he will wait on Gregoire, but I pressed him a little bit more.
Well, my vision right now is to get the clean energy bill
There's
through.
that vision thing again.
And that's what I'm focused on. And
how about running for governor?
If the governor decides not to run, and she's got years to decide that, but if she decided not to run, it's something I would seriously consider. And I think I've got some things to offer, including kind of a unique experience, you know, representing both sides of the state at one time.
Inslee is that rare politician. He's been elected to Congress in 2 different districts. The first time in 1992 from the 4th District, Eastern Washington. Then in 1998, he ran for Congress in the 1st Congressional District, which stretches north and east of Seattle. Environmental causes dominate Inslee's D.C. agenda. He's actually run for governor before, too, 1996, but got beaten in the primary by the eventual winner, Gary Locke. In a book Inslee co-authored, he calls for an Apollo project to make the U.S. the capital of environmental technology and get us off our dependence on fossil fuels. How much attention is clean energy getting at this time in D.C. when so many other issues seem paramount to the national program?
Well, not enough. We'd like to make it front and center. We'd like the Senate already to have passed our bill that we passed in the House. But I'm confident we're going to get a bill in this Congress. And the reason is you're seeing an increasing recognition that this is an economic opportunity for America. It is an opportunity to develop products in downtown Seattle, manufacture them in Washington State, and sell them to China. So people here in Congress, both House members and senators, are starting to understand that the biggest opportunity for our economy is to develop a clean energy job base. And we're doing that. We've got companies all over Washington State who are going to be part of the clean energy revolution.
What's holding it up?
Well, we need to pass this bill to make sure that clean energy gets a fair shake. Right now, all the subsidies are going to the old energy, oil, gas, and coal. If we give a level playing field to solar energy, to wind energy, to wave power, and importantly to efficiencies, we're going to develop huge numbers of new products. We're going to sell them to India and China, and we're going to create thousands of well-paid jobs right in Washington State. So
are you saying we need to get tougher also on the limits to carbon emissions, for example?
Clearly. Right now, you know, when you go to the garbage dump, they charge you $25 to dump your garbage.
Oh, well, I know, yeah.
But when a coal-fired plant puts gigatons of carbon dioxide, a very dangerous pollutant, in the air, they do it at no cost. That's got to stop. We've got to stop that unlimited pollution. We've got to charge the polluting industries for that. And then we've got to use that money to develop new technologies, to build green-collar jobs, to sell products to China.
One of the things we've been hearing is that venture capitalists are investing in manufacturing and innovation in China, for example. Jobs that might have gone here to the United States.
Right.
They're leaving our shores and going elsewhere.
Right.
Because we're behind in regulations, or we're behind in understanding the value of clean energy to the economy.
Right.
Is this a big hurdle also that the U.S. faces?
Yeah, we need a new vision for America, and that vision is that we will be fulfilling our American destiny of being the provider of clean energy products to the world, including China. That we will be developing the electric cars here, selling it to China. That we'll build the electric batteries here and sell to China. That we'll be developing the new solar cells and sell to China. But we've got to realize this. China is a huge competitor for that technology. We've always sort of feared China as being the low-wage manufacturing plant. We need to have a new fear, which is that they're going to be the high-wage, high-tech manufacturing hub. So we are in a race right now. We've got to think of ourselves as in a horse race, and we've got to get out of the gate.
Inslee is still pushing biofuels, even though they've not lived up to their initial promise.
We have tremendous prospects in Washington.
I thought biofuels has been kind of passed by.
Not so, because we have advanced biofuels that now are on the horizon. We have the capability of fueling our cars through algae-based biofuels. I met the first car ever to drive across America using algae-based biofuels last week in Washington, D.C. So we're not talking about yesterday's corn-based biofuels, which has some real problems. We're talking about tomorrow's algae-based and other crops and waste-based fuels that may be able to compete with electricity. And the electric car is coming so fast it's going to make your head spin.
You keep referring to the vision thing. I just have to ask you, this sounds like a campaign.
You know, it says in the good book, without a vision the people shall perish. And that is true. Without a vision for a clean energy economy, we are not going to be able to create those millions of jobs that we need to create. Some of the old jobs are not coming back. We've got to recognize that. We've got to create new jobs to get out of this recession. And I believe we're going to do that.
How much time have you had with the president?
Just enough. I've met him on several occasions. We had a very good meeting with him on clean energy. He's a great guy to be around. I did challenge him to a game of basketball in the house gym and told him that, you know, until he played in the house gym, he just wasn't a ball player. And he stepped back and said, I will rain threes on you. But the game will take place before health care passes.
And indeed, the game did take place before health care passed. Not only Inslee, but Representative Rick Larsen from the 2nd Congressional District playing. Inslee giving Obama a basketball that he had specially inscribed for him. They're not saying who won, but very likely it was Obama, because after all, any legislation Inslee might want to pass has to get Obama's signature. In any case, Inslee is definitely keeping his eye on the ball in Washington, D.C.